Hi everyone, it's Ren here. I hope you're doing well. And in this video, I'm introducing you to yet another episode from INFJ Thoughts. This one is going to be dedicated to ambition. What does it mean to be ambitious? How do I relate to being ambitious or to the concept of ambition? It's interesting because in a very recent video I made, I talked about the question of authenticity and how within the perspective of my commitment to a certain form of authenticity, I realized that I had to reconsider my my interest in pursuing a career. It's a very important point in my life, and it happened last year. And I would say that it happened around May of last year, June was where like the seed was planted in my head that perhaps I had been wrong, in what I had been looking for, at least at a certain level in my life. Because I was pursuing this career and I was, if you want to know, I was hoping to work for the United Nations. I'd been more or less working with them through other organizations for a few years. I've been working in international relations in Geneva for about 5 years now. And I was very ambitious, I would say, until March of last. So now it's like, it's March of last year. Yeah, March of last year. I was working for an organization that investigates cases of crimes against humanity, war crimes. It was on the communication and fundraising side. And I really thought, okay, like this is going to be my entry point into, a United Nations career or something along those lines, a career in international relations. And I was very much appreciated in that place. And yes, I burnt out in some way. And what's very interesting about this case is that I think the way in which I burnt out was quintessentially INFJ. So let us allow ourselves a little aside before we resume the topic of ambition. So we will tangent consciously. Okay, it's something I like to do, to just have a little tangent here, then I open another drawer and I go back and okay. So why was my experience in that organization, the human rights organization, which I had joined in December of 2017, what was my experience in every way quintessentially INFJ? Well, when I joined it, I had this long-term purpose. I want to work for the United Nations in my professional life, okay? And in my there's 3 levels here. Professional life, United Nations, long-term purpose, solidly established. Personal life, at the time, not so clear. Long-term purpose, just I envisaged the possibility of staying, alone unless I met someone that I were to fall in love with. So the personal was really like the last priority. And then in my intellectual life, which I would separate off from my professional life, my ambition, and it is still my ambition, is to produce a work of philosophy that I publish and that constitutes the legacy of what I want to give to the world, okay, philosophically. So I had like these two ambitions, professional, intellectual, leaving aside the personal that was not very much at the forefront at the time. So it was not so long ago. And what was quintessentially INFJ about my experience is that, so I had the long-term vision, the NI thing going on, and I was aiming towards it, right? And in that job, I was doing quite well, I think, and I was appreciated because I was FEing a lot. I was not only with my staff and with people in the staff, so everyone kind of grew to, I would say, to like me, to appreciate me as a colleague quite quickly. Everyone knew my name quite quickly, and even some people who had been in the staff for way longer were commenting on the fact that I was just, like someone that people knew, and joking about the fact that I was an extrovert and things like that. And it came as a shock when I said I was going to quit. But I had that burnt out, and it came from a place of having wanted to convince myself that for the sake of the long-term goal, everything was going to be fine. I was going to manage to do everything, even though everything was not fine. I was not intellectually challenged enough, and I was stressed by the environment. Not only by the fact that the topic is kind of a heavy one, war crimes, but also just the rhythm in that place. It's a very chaotic rhythm. It depends on getting mandates for investigations, and you could just be not doing much for one day and then the day after working until late, and without much foresight of what you were to do. And I think for some people who are looking for constant novelty and newness, it could be a very, very fulfilling job. But for me, it wasn't, because I need relative stability and seeing far ahead. Otherwise, it tends to stress me out. But I was repressing it. So my body, I think, in many ways, was telling me, my body and even my mind were telling me, you're unhappy with this, right? You're unhappy with this. You don't like it. And it was sending me all the signals. I was just at the weekend really tired, didn't want to go out, didn't want to socialize too much. I was sleeping terribly. There were lots of symptoms. But I feel like I was using FE at work, but for myself, I was not listening to what my feelings were telling me, So the FE repression happened until it became kind of too late for me to deal with it. And there was one day where I was at my desk and I just couldn't work. I was completely incapable of doing anything, and I had to go home, and I took a break, and then I was away on sick leave for 2 weeks, and I came back, and shortly after that I realized that was not gonna get better, and I quit. And when I quit, I realized that at first I was just happy that I was gonna have some time off. In the end, I didn't have that much time off because I knew somebody else who was going to offer me the contract that I'm on now, and I knew that it was not going to be a long-term contract. But anyway, I took it to continue saving up a bit. But around that time, despite the fact I knew I was going to have another contract, I didn't mind that it was short-term, because something clicked in my mind, and I said, my whole sense of self was called into question when I was doing this job, and I was ignoring what it was telling me. That self was sending me messages, and I wasn't listening because I was so focused on the vision, and I was focused on how to negotiate the territory or where I was to make my way to the destination of the vision. And I think there was a lot of NITI looping involved in this, being obsessed by the vision and how to negotiate rationalizing it all the time, going home and telling myself, okay, so today I did that, and always trying to look ahead. And it was just so not satisfying to me, but at the time I just had that vision and I wanted that. But after what happened, I just had this small burnout, and I was brought back to reality. I started realizing that perhaps the issue even went further than just this job, that there was a form of insatisfaction with dissatisfaction, with this whole world. I had been admiring the United Nations for a long time, and before I came to Geneva, I idealized the United Nations, and when I came here and I met a lot of these UN officials and I became acquainted with what they were doing, and I just realized it's not that interesting to me, If I stay in this domain, I don't really want to have the ambition to have a career, because what really satisfies me, what I want to have ambition about, what I want to make time for, is the realm of thought, it's the philosophical project, what I'm working on. This long manuscript, which has antecedents in a long series of aphorisms which I published on my blog between 2015 and 2018. And ever since I finished in 2018, I've been working on this slightly more technical notebook, and I'm still working on it, developing a philosophical system, and that's my ambition. That's what I want to bring to fruition, and that's making me happy. And the more I do it, the more it makes me happy. But the other aspects, the professional aspect, at least where I am right now, that's not something where I can perceive ambition, because to me it would be empty ambition, if you like. I think what's healthy about ambition is when the ambition makes you fulfilled, in a way, when it makes you happy and a good person. Ambition for the sake of ambition, it doesn't really mean anything, it has to be part of a holistic framework, not just wanting to do well because being competitive and all that, and I want to do very well in this philosophical field, but it's almost disinterested, you know what I mean? It's because I'm passionate about it. It's not because I want to have a particular kind of status, and then you see the intersection with the authenticity question. It's just because I genuinely love it, and I genuinely think that I have ideas that might be worth sharing, and could be embraced by some people, or could help people see the world in a different way, which is my vision of philosophy in the first place. Not telling people what the truth is, but helping them look at the world in a different way, offering another picture, you would see another painting of a particular scene in a different style. It's really the vision I have, and it's the one I'm passionate about. I'm extremely ambitious when it comes to that, and I'm ambitious when it comes to cultivating my knowledge of philosophy and other disciplines, cultivating my writing skills, my level at speaking English, because I express myself in writing in English as well, and I think that the finished product that I'm working on, I will make it almost a literary work, you know what I mean? It will have philosophical content, but I want the writing to be really lovely and well written and concise and literary. I want it to be like an intersection between the literary and the philosophical. And that's, I have boundless ambition towards, because I know that it fulfills me, fulfills my passion, raises my self-esteem, because I do something that I think I'm good at, and so I feel good doing it. I get support for doing it, and it fills my life with meaning, So I've got all the ambition in the world for that. But I don't care about having ambition for the sake of social status and a very fat salary. Because beyond, a certain amount that you earn every year, the differential between, levels of satisfaction, fulfillment and happiness they're either very, very small, or they don't exist, because the difference is made in other domains than the material comfort, which is obviously true. So, but it took me a long time to come to terms with that, because I had been conditioned throughout my 20s to thinking that because I had done well in the university, a professionally ambitious career was the norm was what was expected, and I was kind of following that in that frame of mind. I was convincing myself that that's what I had to do. And now I have a different perspective. I see my ambition as having been placed somewhere else, and it's much more fulfilling. And it doesn't mean that I will have zero ambition with regards to work. I will try to find something that I like and that I enjoy doing. But if it's not something that I'm passionate about, I will not seek their social status if that's all there is. And in that sense, I am very indifferent toward these things. And I've realized that in life, the majority of people are not indifferent. And it's partly also the source of why they see me as being different, is that I don't even have to make an effort to be indifferent towards these things. But anyway, what are your thoughts, guys? Are you ambitious, and in what way are you ambitious? Let me know, and talk to you soon. Bye.